texting girls is like, I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to text girl and then convince her that you like her, and then you cool her, and then you have to handle her objections. Like instead, like you send 3-4 messages, and then you're like, hey, going to this event, wanna join? Bring your friends. VIP area. Boom.
Copy paste.
Then she's like, boom, okay.
Yeah.
Offer that I should not deny.
Yeah.
Okay, no risk, right? So it's more scalable that way. Plus, a friend of mine told me I'm a Batman. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm a software developer in the day. In the night, I do like VIP hosting.
Yeah.
So he's like basically doing 2 different things.
Yeah.
So it's like introverted geek, and then he's like social person in the night. So it's like you can still make it work.
I get the objection, like you work and then after you work and maybe, for example, you're a software developer, which is a very relaxed work with no people around you. And then suddenly you have to be social, get some energy for you to get into some extroverted stage. But that's with everything in life, right? If you want to meet a girl and you want to date her, you have to become some kind of person for this to happen anyways.
Another thing that comes to your mind, will women take me seriously or just see me as a party guy?
It really depends on how you position yourself then on social media. I mean, they can only get that impression when they watch your stories or your photos on social media. So how else would they just create that impression, right? If a woman thinks that you're just a party guy, she has to be there at the party herself, if not just watching your stories, right? So this means she's a party girl herself and she enjoys the environment.
I would say something else, right? So there's different kind of events. Women generally like men who are social.
Yeah.
That means he's socially intelligent. He's able to interact with other Homo sapiens. So he's fine, right? So he can he can live life, right? He's to be trusted.
Yes.
So it's a high status signal, okay? So it's to be trusted. But what you can do differently, let's say you don't have to go to nightclubs all the time. You can do opening events. You can do brunches and all that. We talk about that differently. And when you are in person, right? What I like to read different books on psychology, on like science, on space. And you can explore, when you're talking to a girl in person, you just don't talk about like bullshit stuff. Like think of like a brain dead promoter, who only talks about music, things like that. I'm not, I'm not like into talking about music all the time, right? I don't play instruments. I like to talk intellectual topics. Not that you have to still calibrate her if like she's brain dead as well. If she's brain rot bimbo, you should probably not do that. But that's how you can change the perception of other person, right? It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
They see me, they think I'm like a douchebag the way when they look at my Instagram, but then when they meet me in person, they're like, man, you are so smart. You are so intelligent, and then you are so nice, right?
Yeah.
So it may look like that online, right? But you can always tone it up and down. But you tell me, man, situation A, there's a guy who's a geek, socially awkward. And then situation B, like there's a guy, everyone likes him, and then he's always around cool people, and girls also seem to like him. Which person would a girl more likely to interact with?
Yeah, of course, the social guy. Actually, when a girl says, or when someone in general says that, hey, Ans, you're such a party guy, all you do is just party, da-da-da-da-da, what they're actually saying is like, man, your life is so amazing. How do you do this? I want to be part of this. This is actually what they're trying to say, and they're showing interest that way. So this is what I noticed with myself a couple of times as well. So when girls just text me, hey, you're doing party so much, or they talk to me in person, it's then very important for you to know how to respond. You can say things, yeah, I like to party and I bring girls all the time and this club and this club. Or you can just say, yeah, I got invited, brought a few friends, right? So then you just appear as the guy who is being surrounded by cool people, getting invited to cool place, rather than for you showing off as you just put on a lot of work for you to make this happen.
Will it work for me if I'm not tall, Viking, an alpha chat thundercock? What if I'm like short, I'm broke, I'm ugly, or not good looking?
Yeah. I mean, I know Indian guys who pull that off. So what else do you want? I mean, sure, this can work for everyone. I mean, we know guys who are way older than us, who are in their 50s, who made this happen. Guys who are shorter, who made this happen.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about pre-selection. Pre-selection makes your life easier. Whether you are a 5'7" Indian guy or whether you are a 6'2" Viking Icelandic guy, right? It works for everyone. For okay, the more genetically gifted you are, the better it's going to
Yeah.
help, right? But of course, you should always work on yourself, right? If you have a dad bod, if you don't know how to dress well,
Yeah.
then nothing is going to help. Like having a bunch of girls around you is not going to help you if
Yeah.
you are not working on yourself.
I mean, there's this guy who everyone knows here in Munich who is in his 40s, has a huge dad bod, who's bald, and he's like the most extroverted energy one can have. And he's like partying every weekend in the clubs, and everyone knows him here in Munich. So, I mean, everyone can pull it off. You just have to put in the work essentially.
I live in a city with 50,000 people. Will it work for me or does it only work for the bigger cities?
I mean, of course, if you live in a big city, of course, things when it comes to that point will be easier if there are more people in the city. I mean, that's quite obvious. But in every city, is for example, in a city with 50,000 people, there will be some places where people will want to go to as well on some Friday or Saturday evening where you can make things happen. But of course, it will be harder for you to pull off compared to a big city. In the end, logistics are the key here for this to make it very, very big.
Yeah, I mean, you could always do house parties, but if girls don't know you, that's hard.
Yeah.
Like they don't trust random people and then go to their houses. Like they could fucking lose their kidneys if a person not right. Can work, but you have to just find guys who are doing it and then help them do it. In every city, if it's like 100,000 city with 100,000 people, I think there is some scene going on.
Yeah,
Like I've been in smaller cities, there's like 2 clubs, even in like a city of 60,000 people.
Definitely.
And people come there from small towns or suburbs. That's definitely possible. Always going to be much more easier if you just move to a bigger city because there's better scene, hotter girls, things like that.
Before I came to Munich, I lived in a city which has 250,000 people, which is quite big for Germany. And there was a lot of things going on. Of course, when I came to Munich or every time when I was in Berlin, which has 3 million people, things are looking completely different, of course, but you can pull things off quite easily in towns with 100K people or even 50K people because every town has some sort of scene going on. It's always easier to get into a existing scene rather than just creating your own one.